Hi guys, back for another show. I know it's been a while since we last spoke, but yeah, I've been very busy. Yes, I know we prioritize what's important, but I've had a lot going on to the point where even when I wanted to film, I wanted to be done to be a quality show. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, and guys, please again like, subscribe. I ask you all the time. Now today's gonna be a bit of a different show to what I normally do. What I've done on the podcast, and even recently when I started filming some individual shows by myself for this channel. There's this thing, I've been thinking about this subject for a while as well, and I was thinking about when hopefully there's more subscribers, more traction, then I'll bring it. But I'm like, you know what? This message, this is important anyway, and it's something that I thought that it's important for me to talk about on this channel today. So I'm not gonna wait until sometime in the future where I feel like there's more people that are following this channel and are engaged with it. I'll just put it out there now. Could always keep referring back to it in future. People that are interested, they should be interested in this particular subject I want to talk about. Will go and find that show respectively in sometime in the future. So today I want to speak about how black males get finessed, done dirty in the UK modern education system. I know it's a subject that people that I've kind of talked about a little bit about my education on a podcast show, but not properly. It's the first time I'm going to do it properly. So it's very important. So guys, please share this as well. Please, you have to hit the like button. Out of all the shows I've asked you to do, please hit the like button. It needs to be spread to a lot of people as much as possible. Like, I'm not messing around. Please, I beg, genuinely like this, like it. It needs to be seen. So this show is important for black male students I'll say from, I don't want to say much primary school. I want to say from secondary school, really, most important. College / sixth form, and even university. I'll go through a bit about my journey as well, and also for parents as well. So black male UK students, if they that are in education from secondary school, college, sixth form, even university, and also parents. Very important. It's actually important for everybody to watch. Actually, not, but I'm going from the angle. I was gonna do something on. I was gonna bring some stats, but I didn't. I'm not bothered this time. I was like, even if I brought stats, people might still say, "Oh, that's not true." Oh, what about question the stats? I'm gonna go through. The stats are there to be found online if you are that interested. Depending on whether you're looking in secondary education, college, or uni, you can find it out yourself. But I'm gonna speak a bit about my experience. And also other people's experiences, other friends I've had, and other people I've seen throughout my time when I was going through, like, you know, the journey that everybody goes through. So when I look back on my life in going through education, I would say that I done all right. From I've had my issues in school, college, and I've had my difficulties. I would say that I had times when I've been determined and I've been like anxious about trying to do the best I can. I've had times spells where I thought I didn't want to think about the future. I wanted to like just block it out. I don't care. It's going to be hard anyway. I've gone through all these different phases, and eventually I feel like I've done all right for myself in that regard. But I wouldn't have done it without the attention of me as an individual, responsibility of me as an individual, even when I was actually young, and also support around me, including the right people in the establishment doing the best they can to help, and also from my parents' input. So I feel like that in this UK modern education system, it can be very difficult for black males in the education ranks, and I feel like that's because there's a lot of the time there's low expectations on them. I feel like there's a lot of stereotypes placed on them. I feel like there's also support may not be the same at the same time. And just to get this straight, everyone's got to take some responsibility for their own learning. I understand that completely. So it's not a case of saying, oh, yeah, it's all to do with external factors only. No, I'm not saying that's not the point of what I'm trying to say. But what I want to say is, so for my journey, I've gone through primary school. You don't that you go through SATs, done okay, done all right. Go to secondary school now, and then this is when you start getting like target minimum grades, which I think is a system that can be flawed in itself. I'm not going to go too much into that. So mine was literally the same for the whole way through. Like my TMG, that's the thing. That was based on your SATs test for people that don't know after primary school. So I got a C. My target minimum grade for GCSEs in secondary school was a C throughout the board. Other people's were like mixed. Some were A for one subject, B for another, some C, some even like D, maybe even E, whatever. At the time before the new, because at the time I was in school, we done it by the alphabetical order. Most people have. Only in recent years it became numbers. In the last maybe 5-6 years it became a numerical. So yeah, mine was a C. And at times we had different sets in schools. You have a bottom set, you have middle set, you have top set for maths, English, and science. So at times this is how I started off. I didn't used to like English. I used to hate it. I found it boring. I was actually decent at maths in my early years. That's where I was most promising at. That fell off during secondary school for various factors. And then it became a thing of I just need to pass it now because it's important, because that's where the system you get measured on maths and English language specifically, not English literature, English language. So we had different teachers, different sets, but then up until I would say 14 years old, there was a time in school when I was just not focusing. I had other issues going on as well, and something switched where all of a sudden I decided, you know what, I need to try it. After around 15 years old, I started researching the system. So that's one thing for parents as well. For parents of students, it's very important you research the educational system, the structure of how it's set up, what different parameters mean for different things. What does this GCSE mean? What does this BTEC mean? What pathway can that actually lead to? It's very important. Half the time you'll be going to parents' evenings, and I don't know how involved you need to be involved in your obviously both son and daughter education, but really I'm going more for guys here in this particular show I'm talking about, right? Very important that you have input. The reason why I was able to get by, because my mom, and I had the privilege and support from my mom, was heavily involved in my education, always at parents' evening. At one point she even got on a governing board. She didn't do that because she had nothing to do, because she also wanted to be part of my education. Done it for my actual interest. I didn't realize that at the time. That's the reason why. Now I know a lot of people don't have the privilege of that. I had certain teachers that were backing me, but I also had a lot of teachers that didn't give a toss. A lot of teachers that probably had low expectations. A lot of teachers that will just kind of sugarcoat things and kind of like not be transparent and lie and say, oh, this is okay or this is good, and it really wasn't. I remember a time when it came to history. So this is GCSE history. So that's, at the time, I don't know how it's changed now, that was considered one like the second hardest GCSE to do well in after physics, apparently. According to some staff members at the time when I was at secondary school, and I was flopping the mock exams. I was getting F's, U's, E's in all the preliminary mock controlled assessments and exams. And my teacher, who was a white male teacher, was one of the few, he was heavily invested, in all his students, but he believed in my capabilities. He saw something there, and he was like, and he used to ring my dad, he ring my mom and say, listen, I know that he can do this stuff. Now, a lot of teachers, they're not gonna do that. I'll be real. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" I don't care. I'm just keeping it real, right? He was doing everything he could to make sure that I succeed in that time. I was in year 11 then. Yeah, I was going through all kinds of crazy things in my head at the time, right? And he was setting up systems where I could work, I could understand things, all these things he was doing because he wanted me to do well. I can't say so much from some other teachers as well. Some of them just were like, because I'll be honest, a lot of teachers in my school and across other schools, they're product of society, wider society. They have, a lot of them are probably like white middle class who come into, because where I'm from South London, right? They come into the area and they have their own biases, their prejudices. They decide that, oh, because remember, they know your background, they know they know things that you couldn't even know about yourself. If I'm honest, they know things on that your secrets. They decide that, oh, you're maybe from a certain area, so they decide that, oh, yeah, he may not do anything with his life. He may not do well. He's gonna flunk all his exams. He's gonna all that kind of stuff, and they won't encourage them the same. They may push people that look like them, maybe they're white female students and they're white male students. They may decide that, oh, these group are gonna go to uni, and the thing is, uni's not for everybody, but they will decide that these are people that are gonna do something similar to what I done. These other people, I can't really relate to them anyway, so whatever happens, they're just there, and then eventually after 16, they may clear off the system, whether they leave the school or go to some next college. There was this. I think it's a big problem, because I think that the students need to speak to their parents. They need to speak to their parents about what's going on at school, how they're doing in there. I know it's hard, but they need to really talk about what they're actually doing in school, where they're at, what set they're in, what subjects they are actually doing well in, what the teachers are saying, any concerns. They need to raise it early. I've seen so many tragic incidences where I'm in my head, I'm like, for some of my friends, I'm like, where are your parents? Like, why are they not having an input? Why are you not being transparent with them? Why are you not telling them? And a lot of them will say, oh, my mom's busy, or my dad is busy, or they don't really care, or they don't have like, or some of them, what do they ever say? The teachers, they believe the teacher's always right, or they believe the teacher has their best interests at heart. If I'm honest, that's not true. A lot of teachers may have all their students' best at heart, and a lot don't, because at the end of the day, they're just people. They're human beings. So they're not all gonna like everybody. They're not robots. They have their own opinions and own narratives as well. They may favour certain other students than others. They may think they can relate to other people more than others. So it's all cap. I'm just gonna be straight and honest with you. I'm not gonna lie and say it's all the same, because I know it is not. I've had to battle so hard. Right? I've had I remember there's a time when I had a friend. I'm not gonna say who it is, and he was like, so he was in the bottom set English, and they identified him, and this guy's also mixed race, right? And he said that the teacher identified him as someone that should be at a higher level. That ended up not materializing. Why not? That's the question I asked. Why is that? Why did it just get left like that? And then as you always see when I saw the higher sets, they always looked a certain way. And then for the bottom sets as well, a lot of it was like black ethnic minority students, boys, and it just seemed like a thing throughout the whole level. I was like, hold on a second, I'm not liking these optics, man. Something's just not adding up to me. Like, are you giving them like the best teachers? Are you just lumping them together? I remember the time when I was in the drama GCSE. I will never forget this. I mentioned this on a podcast once. When I first started the channel, like, there was this teacher. So there's time when we was going through an exam. This was I was in year 10, right? So I was in 14 slash 15, and then we had to pair up. Well, not pair up. Get a group together of maybe I think 4 to 5, maybe 6 students, right? And I'm forgetting the word. We had to create our own performance, create our own script, play a character, and at one point it was just like the women just decided that, oh, we're just gonna lump all the ethnic minorities together. But to be honest, that's okay if it's based on something. If it's just, oh, just lump them together, because I'm thinking something's weird, man. Like we wasn't getting. I noticed like the group I was in wasn't getting the same attention as everybody else. And I was like, I had my concerns because I was on the ball early. And I kept every lunchtime, I remember, every break time, lunchtime, I was always taking, because there was this like market square, right? I'll take a right turn into the teacher's office. I was like, Miss, I've got concerns with the group. I think we're gonna fail. We got this. I was assured every time, don't worry, you're not gonna fail, I promise. I wasn't having it because I saw something weren't right. And then eventually ended up doing very badly, but there was multiple times I was raising my concerns about the group. We're not being taken seriously. But I think, in my opinion, I think she kind of knew really that the group wasn't gonna go do well, because the other thing she was saying was very dodgy about how we're gonna split up the groups, and I was like, this doesn't even make any sense. How are you meant to put a group performance on when you're saying us we have to split up? Because the group they were just messing around, and I was like, it's just funny how all of us just look the same. You go together, and all your other people look a certain way. They're all together. You're giving them more time of day, and you're making sure they have. This wasn't right. The optics weren't looking good. I ended up getting an E. I was so disappointed because drama GCSE. I've been doing drama since I was young, like mad young, and it was an opportunity for me. I will never forget it. And I was like, damn, man. I was thinking these teachers, some of them really do not care. Some of them really lie to your face. There was a time in English in year 11, right? So I was in the middle set, and I took an exam early in November, and I had a control. So what happened was, so you could take. So if they think you're ready, they might take you early to do an exam rather than doing it in May, June. I took it in November at 15, right? And there was a controlled speaking and listening element. I got an A in the oral exam, right? And the teacher, and then this was in front of 2 experienced English teachers who've been doing this job for years. So I'm thinking, okay, this is good. This is worth like 20% of the mark, right? Of a final mark. I was thinking, cool, so puts in a very favourable position. I got an A. I was like, damn, I really smashed it. And then took the actual reading exam in November and the writing exam, and then I was in a history. I was in a history class one day. Got the envelope, and I saw that my final mark was a D. I was like, what the hell? I mean, that exam seemed a bit hard, but not too hard to the point where I thought that I ended up getting a D. I was like, hold on, something is off. Something didn't seem right. I was so vexed. I couldn't even focus on the lesson. And then I think a few months later, this was like, I want to say the new year, so we come up to my final parts of year 11. One day I can't remember the context, but I was in like, after school's finished, I was in one of the English teachers' classrooms. I looked at, and then she had a spreadsheet of, I saw this by accident, I wasn't even supposed to see this. I saw my name, because my name's at the top, because my name's Alexander, so it's right at the top, right? And I see speaking oral exam, a C. I was like, hold on, miss, why is it a C? I got an A. And then she told me, oh yeah, basically I was put into a sample size, a random sample size, and then with the external moderator, and they decided that what these 2 teachers gave me wasn't worth an A, so he put it all the way down to a C. And that's what screwed me up with my final mark in England. That's why I didn't pass in November. I was so vexed, and I wasn't even going to know this. No one was going to tell me this as well. I was like, wow. So what happened was, the reason why I'm saying this is because what happened was, I actually got demoted from the middle English set to the bottom English set. And then there was a lot, I can't lie, there was a lot of disruption in the bottom set with other people. But I feel like a lot of them just needed proper help and support. But obviously, the support, I don't think the support is the same in the bottom set, especially with certain ethnic minorities. I could tell you that I witnessed it. I was thinking, this class completely different to the one I was in middle set. And that they were focusing on passing English language. And then, because you've got to do English literature and language, right? And then I saw that as time was going on, there was no sign of us doing English literature revision for the exam that was coming up. And I was getting assured that we're going to balance it, they're going to balance it. I was thinking, no, I'm being lied to. And I had, there was a teaching assistant that was working closely with me, who also worked closely alongside me on my media studies GCSE, who helped me a lot. And I ended up doing well. I got a B in there, in the end. Yeah, shout out to him. And he took me out, and then the teacher was like, can you take Javen out the classroom because he's being like disruptive? And I wasn't. I was just warning all the students, listen, these teachers are lying to you. They are just, they have low expectations. They expect you to pass English language just so you can pass on the system. They're not going to teach you English literature. They are lying. And I was proven right, because 2 days before the exam of English literature was the first time they actually looked at English literature just to tick the box, say, yeah, we taught you that. They didn't. And I remember in the example, all the people were struggling from that bottom set, that were in the bottom set. I was the only one that did well, because I did my own work outside with the teaching assistant. That the actual class teacher told me, take him outside, go and do your literature work, because I was one making noise. I was warning not just for myself but for everybody. I was looking out for everybody, right? Because I started at 15 years old. You know, I started realizing what the system was doing. Like how they have certain like support for certain people, favour certain like not just an ethnic thing, even like a class thing. I'm thinking science off. I ended up doing alright. I didn't do amazing. I got a C in literature and language. But if it wasn't for me, and I was obviously me communicating with my parents all the time, and also like fighting, I take responsibility for myself, it all could have gone left. So I make these points to say that teachers haven't always got everybody's best interest at heart. They may tell the parents, oh yeah, we're doing this, but the parents, what you need to ask yourself is, okay, what does this mean compared to this? What are the implications for this? That you need to understand that. You really need to understand it. It's very important that you understand what these teachers are actually saying to you. Don't just take everything as at face value and gospel. Do your own research, and students, you need to be upfront and honest with your parents as well, and be a force. Because at the end of the day, you're a student. There's only so much power you have, but you need to make sure that the people that are doing right for you. Anyway, after school, I remember one time as well I had maths. So I was on a higher tier maths. So those that remember, comment in the section if you guys know what I'm talking about so far. Like if you have any experiences. Higher tier maths, those that know, to pass, it's A star to C. If you do foundation, the highest you can get is a C. And it's harder to get a C apparently it is hard to get a C on the foundation paper. You got to get more marks right, so there's less margin for error. It's if you get a C and pass, or you don't and you fail. But then the questions on higher tier, they're harder, even though it's easy to get at least at minimum a C to actually pass the actual examination, right? I remember when I was going through it, and then I had there was this TA, teaching assistant, that was giving me extra lessons. And then at the moment, but because my TMG was a C, that's the reason why I mentioned at the beginning of this video. It was to show you that not all teachers are gonna push you above. They will just tick the box. Maybe for certain students, they just tick the box, say, oh, he's got that, that's enough. Others, they may push you beyond. But that at the time, yes, in my head, I was thinking this is too stressful. I just wouldn't get a C. But cool. In my head, I may say that, but at any point do the teachers want to put? So some teachers want to. Do any of them fit? Well, we can get that, but we can do better. We can aim for that. I don't think there's enough of that in the school for all the students necessarily. Maybe some they may do it, and some they're like, nah, we'll just leave it. I remember I actually ended up failing the examination in GCSE maths, and it was not good because you need to pass that. Obviously, you have to retake it. I ended up retaking that in college, and I was actually ended up doing foundation maths in college. I remember when I think, because remember there's two maths papers. There's a non-calculator is the first paper, and the second one is calculator. And I remember seeing that teaching assistant who's actually a teacher, by the way, in maths, who's obviously very clever and knows her stuff. But I remember we went through like the non-calculator questions, and then she said to me, and I think there was this A or A star question, and she was like, "Oh, I deliberately didn't teach you that." And in my head, I was like, what the hell? Does that even sound right? Imagine a teacher saying to a student, "I deliberately didn't teach you that." Now, I don't think she was even thinking about what she was saying, but it doesn't matter. The fact that you still said it says to me your mentality. Your mentality is, oh, we just expect you, we're not pushing you to do best. Because why isn't your mentality, well, if we can do, if I can teach him this and hopefully he tries it and he ends up busting case in that particular questions, other marks may take care of itself. Who knows, I might have passed first time. Do you see what I'm saying? Like the psyche behind all that. But it's just to show you that raw. But I'm going to move on to other people now. So not me. So obviously I did end up getting into my sixth form. I was able to get a place because I got enough GCSEs to get offered a position in the sixth form. Others didn't, people that I know personally. And there's this, I'm not going to name this college particularly in South London, but people will know what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying the college, I didn't go to that college. I'm not saying, if what you need is there, go for it. But it became this thing where it became weird, like, it seemed to be like a certain people that maybe didn't get certain marks to stay on at the sixth form, or they were unsure if they were going to go to university, had any aspiration of going to university, which is fine because there's different routes in life. Not everyone needs to go to uni. It's not for everybody. There was this particular college in like South London where it seemed like, and also where it came to certain people, maybe like black ethnic minorities that maybe didn't do well or didn't get the grades to stay on. It became a thing where they're like, oh, yeah, just go to that college there. And I was like, what? Are you just sending send the college, send all the black boys to that particular college because it's probably local to your house or local to the end you're in. Yeah, just go there. Just take any course just to say you're off. You're doing something. I was like, that wasn't my experience, obviously, but it doesn't matter. The point is, it's happening, and I'm like, why is that even a thing? Yeah. I was like, nah, this don't make no sense because they don't really care. It's like low expectations. They probably thought, they weren't gonna do anything in life. There was teachers saying to some people that they're not gonna do. They probably won't amount to nothing. I remember seeing them kind of things. It's crazy. I gotta call this out. This is why I'm doing this show. It's very important. Guys, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Very important that I'm doing this show. I'm not reading from a script, so I know I'm going in different places, but I think those are the best ones where you just speak. I ain't got like a bullet point of this point, because even though I had in my head what I was saying, it's kind of going all over the place. But just pay attention to what I'm saying here and try and get what you can from what I'm saying here. But that happened, and I was like, you're just sending what? You just send. I remember this one thing as well. I remember seeing there was this advisor that came in, and this is when I'm meant to be leaving the school at the end, right? And then they tried to say to my mom, oh, has he thought about this college that I'm not going to name? I was like, no, he's not going there. But not because we think that college is beneath me. It's because that college to do what though? What is it? Does what he want to do? Is it there? Are you just sending him there because it's just we happen to send certain people that maybe look like you or just we just lump you all together? Like, I know half these people end up dropping out anyway. There's college anyway, so it's like they weren't even finishing the courses. I'm thinking this doesn't make no sense. But what it goes to show you is there is a thing where there is low expectations, and it is dangerous, like, and it's not being highlighted enough. And I don't think any other YouTube show is gonna tell you this. Like, so that's what I'm saying. You guys need to like this video. I want it spread. I want you, if you're a parent, then you need to watch this. Watch it. The earlier you can watch this as well, the better. If you're a student, watch it, understand what I'm saying, and try and take some of the correct measures to really try to take ownership for your education. And if you think something is off, speak. Because I know a lot of students, a lot of us are not dumb. I think a lot of the teachers think that we're stupid. We think, oh, you're 14, you're 15, we can just tell you anything. You don't understand what we're actually trying to do. We don't understand what this means. You may not understand everything, but you can kind of understand that something feels a bit off and not strange. And then I've had experiences where kids have, students, my peers, have said to me, whether I was close to them or not, has said, oh yeah, this feels like something was off, where I thought the teacher was just saying this. And then obviously they told me they didn't speak to their parents, or they didn't really make a fuss. They kind of just like, and I understand to an extent, because obviously you're going through your hormones, you're going through different stages in your life. A lot of you just, like, it's a lot of factors, outside issues, personal circumstances, all kinds of stuff. But it's very important though, still, if that makes sense. Obviously I go to college now. Obviously I got there on merit, got the grades I needed to do the course I was going to do at college. And this was what was weird, right, when I was at college. So I've gone in there for like the first few weeks. I think it's like 2 weeks, 3 weeks in, right? And it was like a parents' evening, which I didn't think happened at colleges, but they do parents' evening at college. And so my parents came in for, my mum came in for my parents' evening. My dad didn't come in because he was doing something else, but my mum came in. And my tutor said to her, oh, yeah, I've been meaning to like ring you because we're concerned that Javen's not up to the course, or he's struggling. This is like, I'm like 2 weeks in, like nothing's really happening yet. I'm like, so my mum thought that was weird, but my mum was like on the board, and that's why I'm always grateful for the support I had, because not everyone has that. I'm gonna lie, if I didn't have the right support at home for this stuff, I'd probably been in trouble, I'll be honest. But that's why I'm doing this show, to get parents to understand how to try and combat and do what's best for your children to navigate through the ranks in the educational system. Yeah, regardless of whether you want to know what you want to do or not, just, yeah, it's about the principle of doing those things. And she was like, hold on, he just started. My mom saying, like, he just started, he's got it on merit, what's the problem? But fast forward 2 years later, I ended up doing very well when I got into university. But that's not the point. The point is, already from the get-go, you're deciding that I'm struggling. Why? Based on what? You see these dodgy things. There was one time, like, as well, I think I was in the second year of college, right? And there was this teacher, and I'm someone that I question things. I speak my mind. I kind of say things. And then there was this lecturer that, we call them lecturers at college. She rang up my mum one time and said, oh, yeah, Javen, she went up to complain and say something that, oh, Javen, something in class has done, blah, blah, blah. And imagine me, I'm asking something for my own benefit to understand, right? And then my mum was like, oh, what, was he rude? And she was like, oh, no, he's very polite. Yeah, no, he's very polite. He's very well-mannered young man. And I was like, but the point is, why you had in your head that I'm a negative? That's why you rung my mum. But you couldn't actually, when my mum asked you what I'm supposed to be doing, you can't actually say what it is. Do you see what I'm on? Do you see how this dangerous? Like, and to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of kids on my course that got kicked out of college as well. At one point, they tried to put me on report for something. Not that I was doing anything. Tried to say that, oh yeah, you're gonna be on report. I ended up staying on. They ended up getting kicked off. But the point is, again, why? Why do they find it easy to kick them out? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. And by the way, there were some that were not behaving right. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm saying that there is something there in these like instances that are kind of dodgy sometimes. Gone to uni, so this uni now, I'm kind of going a bit fast on this, but gone to uni now, do a course I wanted to do. I got it. Uni was a challenge, right? I got there in the end. So happy. I don't think I could put myself through that again, even though I loved uni. It was very difficult at times, and it was very fun at times, very challenging, and it was just an emotional roller coaster. Emotional roller coaster. Guys, comment in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. If you've been through uni, you know the emotional roller coaster. It's like, so I done 4 years, I done the sandwich course. But I remember, like, in my 4th year, doing a dissertation, and I ever hate this tutor, right? And I thought she was dodgy anyway. And for guys' information, just for information context, so she was someone that I feel like was very insular, didn't really, she had a very, I don't think she was comfortable most people. When she spoke, she never sounded confident. I remember the times, we had her briefly in the 2nd year of uni. I remember when, like, no one was turning up to her lectures because she was so boring and the way she was speaking, and she was very, like, unclear what she was saying. So I ended up, unfortunately, having her as a dissertation tutor in my 4th year, right? And I thought, oh my God, no. But obviously, you work with what you got, you try. And there were some things she was saying that was just, I knew for a fact was dodgy, right? Because I remember in the 1st and 2nd year, there was this thing where in uni, guys, comment in the chat if you know what I'm talking about with like this referencing. So when you do an assignment, right, they do not like it when you reference someone and say cited by someone else. They prefer for you to go to the original source. They actually tend to actually mark you down for that. They say it's lazy. They don't like that. So I remember one time when she was advising me to put, oh, you can put a reference as cited by, and I was like, hold on a second. I know from the 1st year, because I remember there was this guy who was so, in my university, that was so, like, he was a harsh marker, right? He did not like that. He punished students that did that and marked them down for doing that. And this is in year 1, 1st semester. So he's teaching you a lesson. There's this unit called research skills. And in his 1st year, so it doesn't count anyway, you still got to pass it. So that was a lesson. I remember in 2nd year, there was another tutor, so obviously it does count, and people did that, she marked it down for it. She even put it in the feedback. Those that didn't cite the original source, you kind of got marked down for that. So how the hell in the 4th year, a dissertation, are you saying to me, you can go and put cited by? Nah. I knew I was not confident in this lecturer, right? And then obviously I'm battling. But then I remember one time, right? So obviously I'm doing a dissertation on what I want to do, and there was this time when I was having this lockdown. So yeah, I had lockdown. Uni was in prime COVID. I say prime COVID like it was a good thing. It was bad, but you know what I'm saying, right? In COVID happened at the back end of 19, but the peak of it was beginning of 2020. Went in lockdown, all the lessons went online. And I remember I was doing online Zoom calls with this dissertation tutor, and this stuff. And obviously we're doing so with the dissertation, how it works, right, is for every chapter you can do a mock chapter where they can give you feedback. They don't tell you your mark, but they can give you feedback. So it's advisable that when you send that mock chapter in, it's the best you can do it, because they can only look at it once. They can't look at it again. So obviously I do the best I can. And obviously they can't tell you the mark you got. Well, they'll give it, but I'm not dumb, right? The feedback this person was giving me, you'd think that you could interpret that I got a 1st class on. I remember specifically there was this chapter. I think it was the methodology chapter, if I'm not mistaken. And the way she was gassing up that mock chapter, you'd think it was near pitch perfect, right? So I'm like, cool. And then her comments was specifically, oh, if anything, just change this. Basically saying that you're basically a 9 out of 10 to interpret it. I'm not stupid. So you didn't give me an official mark. Common sense can kind of tell you you're on the high end of things, right? I'm sorry, right? I don't care what anyone tells me, right? So obviously, I just do what the one little thing she said to say about it. I went and gone and done that. Come the end of the dissertation now, and for even other chapters she was saying good things as well, but specifically that one was the highest one she was giving the most plaudits to. Come the end of the dissertation, the final thing comes in now, I send all that stuff. On the feedback, all of a sudden, the feedback was changed. Like, she started saying that some things weren't there, this wasn't good enough. And I was like, hold on a second. You said something completely different. And I ended up getting a 2-2. Yeah? I was like, what the I'm not gonna swear, I was so mad. I was like, what? And I went through an appeal system. The reason why I'm telling you this is to show you about the expectations at uni, because there's statistics I remember being told, and you can go and find them yourself, I ain't got them on me now, about how there's this disparity between the marking with certain groups of people, ethnic minorities, compared to someone else, with how they mock and how harshly they mock. But my thing was, when I went through an appeal stage, because most people ain't going to go through that, and if I kid you not, no exaggeration, I was appealing this dissertation for basically a year. A whole year I was appealing this dissertation, going through all the stages. And it was getting very peak with the appeal system because this dissertation wasn't taking any accountability for the stuff. I had evidence of her saying something and then saying something different. I had screenshots showing differences. And at one point, when it came to her story, she was saying things like, "Oh, it was clear that Javen's ambitions were out of kilter." Out of kilter, like as if to say that, oh, your standards are too high for what you're doing. You should just be grateful with just passing. Basically, what she was basically trying to tell me. And that's dangerous, because what it goes to show you that clearly there is a thing. So this, for context, she was a white female, white middle, real proper middle, not just like middle class, a woman with a certain background, doctorate, research, does all this kind of stuff. And a lot of people can't relate to her in that university. So especially someone like me, probably from like South London, black male, you're not going to do that. Even people that look like her, she'll struggle to relate to, if I'm honest. Right? That's not me even throwing shit, that's just me being completely honest. Yeah? And what that shows you there is clearly she clearly has a certain narrative in her head of what she thinks certain people look like. But other students as well, and they didn't really do on her. They had complaints. They didn't, but unfortunately, they didn't go through no appeal system. They felt like she really helped them much, or like she didn't really do much for them. And I just saw a pattern, and I was like, yeah, you see. Overall, I ended up getting a 2-1 in my degree, but to this day I'm still gutted with what happened. But I'm not gonna go too much into the whole entire story. But these were key things. But what it shows you was there is a certain like barriers and expectations to certain people in the education system. Not every teacher has got the best interest for every student. And this is not a teacher bashing show. It's not a show that's saying, oh, every white teaching establishment is not helping black. That's not what I'm saying. That's not true, because my history teacher was white and he was one of my best teachers I've ever had, and he was pushing for it. So in my GCSE time, and he was really looking out for me, and he really helped me as best as he can. I had quite a few. But what I'm showing you, it's not just about my experience, it's about even other people's experiences. So yeah, it's very important that students take ownership for and communicate with teachers, communicate with your teachers, communicate with your parents. Parents, be invested heavily in your children's education. Go to parents' evenings, make time for it. Mine did, but make time for it. Really understand, have an open, transparent relationship with your children about what they're doing in their education and where things are going. Because when things push comes to shove, you really need to be there for them. You need to be your children's biggest advocate. I've heard stories of too much parents saying, like, not to me, but other things I've heard where they thought the teachers had their best interests at heart. Only you really can have your best students at heart. Remember, at the end of the day, they're getting paid to do a job. Some are passionate about their job. Some really won't care. Some have to get a paycheck. Some have their prejudices. Some are just so and so and whatever. Some random person from, I don't know, Blackburn or Hull or somewhere in Buckinghamshire has come here, probably rents a flat shares, gets pissed on the weekend, doesn't really hang. And if you see their social circle, none of them even look like you. They will never cross paths with you in any walk of life anyway, really, unless they really had to, maybe via an institution or something or whatever. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So you need to understand that they're people at the end of the day. They're not always they're going to have their favourites, they're going to have people that they care about more. So yeah, very important message, guys. Please like and subscribe. Very important. I know this show is not probably the most fun, but I think it's one of the most important ones. Ideally, if I had a bigger subscriber base, more people will see it. But you guys need to like the video and show it to other people as well if you can, and really get that out there. And guys, just give me any feedback in the comment section below. I post what you think and anything. But anyway, guys, I'm signing out. Yeah, stay tuned for more.